Well, good damn afternoon, Americans. Jericho Green here with you once again. Make sure you give me a follow on X at green_Jericho. And make sure you subscribe to my new channel, Green's House. I have some great ones lined up for you, so keep your eyes peeled there. That's where I sit down with interesting people who have an amazing story to tell. Before I get into the topic of this video, let me know in the comments, how old were you when you just stopped giving a fuck about how you dressed? I don't mean, wearing filthy clothes or shit with holes in it, and some people have always been like that. And in a way, I admire people who just throw something on and they can just be out, walk out the door. My dad was like that. My dad didn't give a shit. He probably would have worn a loincloth if he could. Whenever we had, family pictures or church or something like that, somewhere he had to dress up a little bit, my mom would lay his clothes out for him. My dad his looks, like he shaved and everything like that, but his clothing, the way he dressed, was never important to him. But to me, it still is. I like, if I'm going somewhere, I like to look nice. I buy nice things. I like quality things. But if I'm like, now I'm going to run errands and stuff, I got to drop off some paperwork at my daughter's school. Got to go to the bank. Like, I got on an old t-shirt, some old shorts, some cheap Nikes. Like, I just don't give a shit. And as a young person, man, that's everything. Could you imagine dressing like I am going to the mall? You're going to go to the mall like that? So let me know. Maybe you still care. Maybe how you dress is very important to you, and every time you go somewhere, you have to be, neat and clean and all that kind of stuff. That's fine. But if you're in my boat where you just don't give a shit, when did that happen for you? But speaking of not giving a shit, where is Sloppy Joe? Now, I asked that question in general. Where the fuck has he been? But especially since yesterday, you had the stock market crash. You had the Dow was down over 1,000 points. The day before that, Japan experienced their worst stock market crisis since 1987. Cryptocurrency took a bit of a hit. It's bounced back today. And other things have bounced back today, so it wasn't like the end of the world. It wasn't 1929 all over again, like some people might have said yesterday. But being that happened, being that the Dow Jones was down so many points, I think the most ever, why didn't we hear from the resident of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue? Something like that, something so major, we probably should have heard some words from Sloppy Joe. But I think Sloppy Joe, he's unplugged. He's already on the beach in Delaware somewhere. He don't give a shit. He's finished. He's not running for re-election again, although a few weeks ago, I'm still going to run, and people are asking me, I'm running, let me be clear, and all that shit. And then, I'm not, via X. Didn't even come out and let people know. A fucking post on X that was on it looked like a screenshot of a piece of paper that didn't even have the presidential seal on it. So that's how he let us know. But ever since then, he had the sweet and sour sniffles. Sloppy Joe's kind of nowhere to be found. But yesterday would have been a good time to hear from him. Or if you're not up to it, if they're giving you a new face again, or if you've been, remember with RoboCop, when they had to take him offline and they took him back to the facility and took his face off and shit in the back of his head, and you could see his brain, and they were giving him that baby food shit, nutrients. Maybe they're doing that to Sloppy Joe. Maybe Sloppy Joe is a cyborg. He's back at the black site, and they've taken some of his components off, and they're rewiring his circuit boards and shit. Whatever. If you're incapacitated or if you're not available, isn't that a good time to send out your VP? Wouldn't that be a good time to hear from her cackling ass? Nothing. Nothing from the White House. No Sloppy Joe. No Kamala the Ugandan nightmare. Silent. quiet as a dead church mouse. Why is that? Why do we not hear from the leader of the free world? I heard some people saying, well, maybe they're in the Situation Room and they're gearing up, they're making plans for an attack from Iran, because Iran is going to get revenge for that leader of theirs that was droned the other day. Leader of Hamas, whoever the fuck it was. They said they're going to retaliate. But what does a retaliation from Iran look like? A bunch of missiles that don't hit their target? They shoot 1,000 rockets and 2 of them make it through the Iron Dome and hit a couple goat farmers? Is that a retaliation? Is that worthy of a gathering in the Situation Room? I don't know. But even if that was the case, none of you can slip out for a minute. You guys don't take piss breaks in the Situation Room. You can't slip out for a minute, get behind a podium and ease the American people's feelings, ease their minds. You can't do that? Why? This is so weird. And I ask this question again. Those who vote Democrat, how does your asshole feel? Because you got fucked. They sold you Sloppy Joe, took him out, and inserted Kamala there. But we want to protect democracy. Well, what happened there? You didn't protect democracy there. Nobody voted for Kamala. They wanted Sloppy Joe, which is weird in itself. But that's the ultimate bait and switch. But where in the hell was Sloppy Joe and Kamala the Ugandan Nightmare in one of the worst days we've ever seen on the stock market? Nowhere to be found. I'm sure they both had their faces buried in a pile of hair. For Sloppy Joe, it was an 8-year-old's hair. For Kamala Harris, it was an 80-year-old's pubic hair. I thought for sure they were going to have something to say. Even Trump released a statement on Truth Social, and he's not even the president anymore. Man, this shit is weird. These are weird times that we are living through. Did you guys forget that President Trump was almost assassinated a few weeks ago? They buried that shit like the dead family dog. They buried that story quick. If somebody took a pot shot at Sloppy Joe or Kamala Harris, that's all you would hear about. And let it be some right winger. Some white right winger. Oh my goodness. You know what that fucker had for breakfast. Nothing. Buried the story. You don't hear about the shooter. You don't hear about the help that he got. Where did he get that gun from? How did he get a rangefinder in a backpack? How did they not do something about that? You've heard the shit. They saw that fool a fucking hour before he did anything. Hey, we got a guy over here with a rangefinder and a fucking ladder. Oh, he's up on the roof. The roof's too hot. We don't want to put any counter snipers up there. The roof's too hot. Wasn't too hot for that wide-eyed weirdo. That fool's eyes were wide as shit. He'd scratch his ear and his eyeball at the same time. Nothing. A former president of these United States of America was almost shot and killed, and we don't hear shit about it. And you're supposed to believe that everything is going to be fine, and that Kamala's black, and Sloppy Joe does 100 jumping jacks in the morning before he gets out of bed. Yeah, okay. But tell me, what do you think? Let me know in the comments, where do you think Sloppy Joe and Kamala Harris were yesterday when they weren't out giving a statement to the American people? But you know how it goes. I try to be done with the left, but they just won't let me. Please subscribe. Hit that notification bell, because every time it rings, a piece of shit lefty cries. Utilize the Linktree link. Make sure you give me a follow on X and subscribe to my new channel, Green's House. I am Jericho Green. Man, I'm out.